Go to the phones. Our good friend Bill King joins us from Nashville Sports Radio, the king of college football talk, but also a Vanderbilt baseball fan, college baseball fan overall. I know he loves that sport. And Bill, here it is. It is March 31st, and Jack Leiter still has not allowed a base hit since in like 3 weeks almost. It is nuts. Have you ever heard of, you remember the saying from the 50s pitching staff from the Milwaukee Braves, spawn insane, pray for rain? We got to come up with something for Rocker and Leiter because these guys are unhittable.
Now, I heard today that Friday night in the box down at LSU, it's Leiter versus Caden Hill, which is what? The two of the top four taken in the draft, right?
Probably so. Yeah, you're right. And Hill is from Ashdown, Arkansas.
I mean, wow. And obviously Rocker will go first, but yeah, Leiter is. I was wondering after the no-hitter, they brought him back on 1 day less rest just because of the schedule, and I was wondering. You only pitch 7 innings in high school at the most, right? Unless you got a crazy travel team coach or something.
Yeah.
But he said he'd never thrown that many pitches, 124 on the no-hitter, and I was wondering how he would reply right after that. He might have been a little better. He had, in that no-hitter, he only had a fastball for the first 6 innings of the game. And then he was able to find a little bit, but mainly it was all fastball, literally. Didn't even have his best stuff. And I was wondering, and guys, on that 124th pitch, he hit 96. Gosh. Okay. I mean, on the 100th pitch, which we were speculating whether they yanked him in, that was 97. And he's 6 foot, maybe. And I tell you who he's built like. You know, Sonny Gray, still in Major League Baseball now with the Reds. He's built just like Sonny Gray. But I think he's got better speed. I don't know, he doesn't have a better curveball than Sonny Gray, but he's got more power.
Gray's really athletic. That's what it seems Rocker Leiter too. But now, both of these guys have thrown no-hitters. Rocker did it in the tournament 2 years ago. So,
game.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it just bums me out that these teams are not playing each other because Arkansas leads the nation in home runs, and Vanderbilt you just can't score against them. Yeah,
well, they'll meet. It just won't be regular season, right?
Yeah, well, the way that it's working, and who knows how the rest of the season's going to shake out, but they probably wouldn't meet until late in the SEC tournament or in the College World Series if both teams were able to stay together and meet the expectations that I think everybody has for them.
Right, right. Well, you know what? It'll make us that much more anxious when we get to it.
You're right about that. Is everything all right in around where you live? I know Nashville and the surrounding area had some really, really nasty floods. I know Nashville's dealt with a lot of flooding in the last, 10 years or so. What about where you live? Is everything okay?
Yeah. Now, the flood of the century was exactly 10 years ago, and that had everybody. You guys know downtown Nashville. Sure. It was so bad in 2010, the water came up Broadway from the Cumberland River, which I didn't think it was even doable, all the way up Broadway into Bridgestone Arena. It covered the floor of Bridgestone Arena by several feet. Now, you can imagine the elevation. And that was 2010. Now, we didn't have that this time, but the southeastern areas where I'm located, Williamson County, Rutherford County, West Nashville got hit pretty hard. I didn't. We were lucky. I'm kind of up a little bit too, elevation-wise. We're protected, but some people got hit pretty hard, yeah.
Bill King joining us here on Halftime. Bill, before we move outside into the NCAA, just this scope of everything, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, and I saw this news come across a couple days ago. Vanderbilt revealing a plan for a $300 million facility project. I mean, they're trying to make a step forward at a university. So you're the Nashville guy, and obviously you follow Vanderbilt just because you're just there in Nashville where they are. What do you make of this move by Vanderbilt trying to, the way it seems to me, catching them up with some of the SEC schools as far as facilities go?
Guys, I have lived 50 years of Vanderbilt lies. Promises, press conferences, here's a data point sheet we're going to do, and then it just disappears. They haven't messed with the football stadium since somewhere around 1982. That's the last time, and you guys have been there. You probably believe that, right? It's true.
Oh, it is true. I've seen it from baseball. Yeah. Chad Morris is coaching at a much better stadium now in Allen High School.
Oh, God, Chad Morris, a huge upgrade from Dudley Field over here. They call it the Dud, by the way, if you don't know. But anyways, yeah, they raised $100 million. Now, here's the thing, guys, and most people obviously don't care about Vandy, but they got unlimited money. I mean, money's not a problem. They just choose not to use it. And there's always the academia fight with athletics. Anyways, raised $100 million privately already. The school matched another $100 million, the university, and then they've got another $100 they're going after. But they're starting. They say right after the football season is over, which I'm sure means no bowl game because this team's going to be terrible. Then they're going to start construction, and it will include buildings, basketball, football, addition to the Mugugan Center, which is the athletic complex. And their practice field will now have an adjacent football-only, full-length indoor facility. They've got one now, but they share it with the other sports. And they're kind of landlocked, so I'm interested to see where all this is going to go because there's nowhere else. It's not like you're in downtown Nashville. You can't expand anywhere off your property. It'll be interesting, but guys, I guess long-winded. Sorry about that, but it sounds like right now they're not kidding, and they're going to do this.
You mentioned Chad Morris just a second ago, and obviously we went for an hour and a half in our show and then never brought it up, but then obviously we got a lot of funny texts like legendary Texas high school head coach returning to Texas, and we all gawk at that idea of him being legendary. But real respectfully, I mean, do you think he'll find success back in coaching in high school football? And this article I read, I think it was TexasFootball.com, maybe he doesn't last too long because if he can be successful at arguably the biggest and best program in the state of Texas, do you think he could find his way back to maybe a mid-major, maybe a major head coaching job in the SEC, Big 12, something like that?
Number one, he will have immense success at Allen High School. Everything he needs there, his offense, his mind, all that, it will work. And again, you've got players. It's already got everything built in for him. So, yes. Will that lead to one more shot to prove everybody that I can really do this on a high level? I doubt it. I mean, maybe a smaller level, lower D1, but something P5 that I don't think the timing's going to be good. Would he leave to be somebody's coordinator? Now maybe, but guys, maybe he gets back to high school and that's his comfort level. You know what? He's made a lot of money by now. So I don't know that the money grab would be the key thing for him anymore. He may just stay there.
Well, as far as we know, that his wife and kids have never even left the state of Texas.
Right, so he's closer to home now with that job.
Absolutely.
That's a big part of it.
Right.
All right, Bill. So I'm going to close on
quick note. I got a DM from him when he got the SMU job. And all it said was, "Hey, Bill, love listening to the show. Hopefully we'll be good enough here someday for me to get on the show." That's the last time I heard from him. I'm not kidding.
So
I'm not kidding.
Happen.
Go ahead.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
that hadn't happened.
Did it ever happen?
No, that's right. It didn't happen. So there's this case that that's before the Supreme Court today involving the NCAA. And the last time, and I know this is about schools being allowed to have more benefits for players. I think it sounds
right.
Somewhat like pay for play. But the last time that the NCAA went before the Supreme Court, college sports changed dramatically, though it took a little bit of time. It was the early 80s, and it was Georgia and Oklahoma versus the NCAA about renting the television rights for the schools to sell, and that led to the world that we have now for college sports. So this is going to be one of those flashpoints where college sports will probably change dramatically, because I get the sense the NCAA is about to lose this.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the body language is. I haven't been watching it, but I see the tweets, and a lot of people are monitoring and tweeting about it. It sounds like the judges' body language and words sound like they're empathetic to the players.
And it's coming from both sides. It's coming from the right and the left justices.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It sounds like there's rare unity on the Supreme Court. So I think the players are heading in the direction they're going to get their way. I'm not for it, but it doesn't matter what I think. I think we're about to open up the Wild West, and I love college football. I'm pretty much unconditional. I'm like a dog. My love's unconditional, but I know things have to change, guys, but I'll worry about the future. Let me put it that way.
Well, I mean, it's like you said, there's nothing that we can do about it other than just adjust,
right.
For those who make a living in the world of college sports, we'll adjust, and that's all you can do, right?
Yeah. Right. Oh, look, there's always something. If it turns into the Wild West, it just makes our jobs better, right? I mean, I've got enough content as it is. But if we turn into the Wild West paying players and, we're going to be having conversations about why a guy chose a school based on the finances. That's going to be weird in the beginning. We'll adjust to it, but it'll be odd.
Yeah, and sooner or later, maybe they'll end up having, a draft or something for college sports. Wouldn't that be crazy? Oh, boy. Bill, appreciate it.
But the only way to get Alabama, to even up with Alabama, would be do it that way.
I'm all for it then. I raise my hand. I'm all for it.
I second that motion.
Bill, thanks, man. It's great to have you on again.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Bill.
you.
It's Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio. And I remember a conversation I'd had with Bill early when this show first started. Ty and I had him on, and we were talking about transfer portal. We were talking about Kelly Bryant because he had just announced he was transferring. And we said, this seems like it's going to be something that's big. It's like college sports free agency. And, man, it really has become that. But that's not necessarily what this is about that's going before the NCAA. I think this is much more about, players getting benefits that in a lot of cases they deserve. And it does seem that the pressure on the NCAA is coming from both sides.